Hey guys, TR Willie here. Welcome to episode 10 of TR's Mod Shop collection. This week I have a rather unique addition to the collection. This is my Ritchie Blackmore tribute strat that I built. It was built from a made in Mexico Olympic white body, and it has a Squier neck. The original owner that I bought it from had refinished the headstock with the Fender logo, and he didn't do the greatest job, so I actually went back and refinished it again, and it turned out much better. What's interesting about this guitar is I originally did a video a couple weeks ago. I hadn't published it yet on this guitar, and at the end of the sort of monologue, I mentioned how I was interested in possibly scalloping the neck, and I wasn't sure about doing it because obviously it's an irreversible mod to do, but I decided really after looking at my Bertha guitar from the number 2 episode that I had inadvertently scalloped, that it would probably be much easier to do on a rosewood neck, and I decided what the heck. And so last night I sat down and started sanding, and this afternoon I finished it up, and you can see it's now a scalloped fretboard, and it's scalloped in the style of Ritchie Blackmore, which is very different from a typical scallop like you would see on an Yngwie Malmsteen model. The Yngwie Malmsteen models, the scallops are very deep and they're very even and concave. On the Ritchie Blackmore model, the scallop is more asymmetrical. In the upper frets, it's more like a classical or like a classic scallop, but when you get down where the frets start opening up, there's actually more depth the closer you get to the fret. So instead of being a perfect U, it kind of like slopes down to the fret. And actually this makes it a little, that's actually where it's better to fret anyways. Typically, you get more in tune playing the closer you play to the fret itself rather than playing just in the middle. And so it actually makes sense to have the deeper scallop there. Also, Ritchie Blackmore does not scallop the base end of his necks. Typically, Ritchie will actually do his own scallop work, even though you can buy his signature model that already comes scalloped. Most of his guitar, he actually did his own scalloping on. So he actually took sandpaper and actually did the work himself. Again, he leaves the base end, for the most part, unscalloped, so that way you don't have tuning issues. Because on a typical fully scalloped board, it's very easy to fret notes out of tune by pressing down too hard. So he leaves the base end unscalloped. On the signature models, the upper register is scalloped fully across the neck, and that's kind of what I did. It's fully scalloped up until the 12th fret, and then from there it's scalloped deeper on the treble end and less on the bass end. And then when you get down to the last 3 frets, there's actually very little scallop there at all. Again, so that when you're playing the low register cowboy chords, again, you don't pull them out of tune. Basically what I did was I did it, again, the way he scallops his was with sandpaper, and I measured, before I started sanding, I measured each fret, the depth, and wrote it down, and then I scalloped the first fret, and when I got it where I liked it, I measured how much I'd removed, and then I just removed the same amount on every fret all the way till I got to the last 3, and then I removed about a quarter less wood than I had on the rest of the neck. And it came out very good. I actually had somebody that actually owns a real Ritchie Blackmore model, and he said it actually, the fret or the scallop job looked just like his. So that was really cool to hear. So that's the neck. It's got medium jumbo frets, but they were fairly heavily dressed by the previous owner, which was part of the reason why I thought about doing a scallop, because It was very, when you would fret this guitar and play on this guitar, you felt a lot of the fretboard underneath your fingers, which added, you know, a little resistance and traction. So now having the scalloped, there's very little wood under the fingers now, and vibrato and bends are much easier. And that is one thing I want to clarify about a scalloped neck. A scalloped neck in and of itself does not make you play faster. You know, that's kind of a thing because of guys like Yngwie Malmsteen, even Ritchie Blackmore, and there are other shred types that use scalloped necks, and people think, oh, scalloped neck means I'm going to play fast. Even Yngwie himself admitted it's actually the opposite. It's harder to play fast on a scalloped neck. The speed comes from the fact that you have to use a lighter touch. If you use a kind of a standard heavy touch on a scalloped neck, you will pull the notes out of tune. You can kind of hear, but if I push all the way down to the wood, you can hear it pull the note out. So what you have to do is develop a lighter touch, and that's where the speed comes from. The real advantage of scalloped necks is for bends and vibrato, and it allows you to, again, because there's less wood under your fingers, you can do vibrato and bends very, very smoothly and easily with no resistance from the wood under your fingers. It's also very similar to just having jumbo frets on a guitar. And actually someone like Yngwie, and I believe Blackmore as well, they have both jumbo frets and the scallop board. So they are literally not touching the wood of the fretboard at all with their fingers when they're playing. It's just string on fret. So that's the neck. Now, getting into the electronics on this guitar are also very unique. The pickups came with a body, which was off of a Highway 1 first generation made in Mexico Strat. But the first year or so that I started using the guitar, the middle pickup kept cutting out, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I would take the pick guard off, I would resolder it, it would work for a couple of weeks, and then it would cut out again. And the other two pickups weren't doing that. So I finally, I changed the switch, I changed everything I knew to change, and it still kept doing it. So I came to the realization that it was actually the middle pickup itself. Well, being a Blackmore tribute Strat, Ritchie Blackmore doesn't use the middle pickup. So I thought, well, okay. So what I went ahead and did was I rewired it, similar to how Blackmore has his wired. So he has a three-way switch. So I did that. I put in a three-way switch, and I put a jumper from the bridge to the middle, so that when you play the middle position, you are still playing the bridge pickup. Otherwise, if you played the middle, there would be no sound. So by bridging those two lugs, it allows you to retain sound when you switch across the pickups. The interesting thing that happened was my middle position does not have a tone control. So when I clicked to the middle position, when I first wired it up and tried it out, I had the tone control on the bridge pickup. And then when I moved to the middle, it was still the bridge pickup, but it was the bridge pickup without a tone control. So it was much brighter and much more cutting. So that was kind of cool, I thought. It was a different kind of thing that I'd ever seen on a guitar. So I left it that way. So it allows me to, I can get a warmer bridge sound with the switch down and have the tone roll back. And then I can go to the middle and it's almost like a treble boost. The other thing I did was in the neck position, on the neck tone control, I put a Tvx Tone Control. And I talked about Tvx Tone Control in one of my earlier videos, and how from about 5 to 10 on the dial, it's basically a 1 meg pot. So it makes the neck pickup much brighter. And that kind of matches kind of the Blackmore sound. It balances well against the bridge pickup. And so that allows it to sound very much like a Blackmore Strat, or at least like Blackmore's Strat, especially from, you know, the 60s and 70s. Standard, it's made of Mexico bridge, but I do have the Callaham saddles. I also have the full-size tremolo block and the typical high float on the tremolo, where I can pull back a step and a half on the G string. So that's pretty much it on this guitar. I'll go ahead and demo it now so you can hear what it sounds like. Thanks for watching.